Welcome to the Friendly Geordies podcast. How has everyone been doing?
Oh, great. I'm spectacular. Miss Love?
Miss Love
Fantastic.
is unfortunately no more, and we did not have the budget for the 2023
What,
to
to
24.
CGI him in?
No, just like, those, like, what are those called? Well, at the Oscars when people die, they play...
Posthumous?
Yeah, posthumous. We had no budget for it, so unfortunately...
You don't even have the budget to take down his picture.
No.
Nah, it's off shot, so let's keep it that way.
And I've kept like when we shares the camera. Oh, you can't even see it, but you'll see it at one point. Okay, so let's start with the some of the main segments. Firstly, did you watch any Baby Reindeer?
No, I'm not going to watch that. Dude, The Office is too fucked for me, and that is a comedy. I don't want to watch drama Office.
Yeah, but like Office, it's British Office too. It's not just The Office. It's got like...
Yeah, but it was British Office.
Anyways, so the point is, but you're aware of the storyline, and you can't be living under a rock. You've heard about it. It's about stalking.
I'm aware.
So fans of the show and just like, I guess, Redditors found the stalker.
Yep, sounds very Reddity. Isn't it amazing that it is absolutely fine to dox certain people? If you dox people, then all bets are off. You can dox.
Yeah, but... well, look, man, if she is a fucked individual, you have to agree.
I reserve judgment. Haven't seen the show, and I never will. So I assume
Oh,
that she's
dude,
great.
it scared me. I saw like an episode and I saw a bit of it. It legitimately scared me. It was just like to the point where, like, literally, I said this to Katie: "Can we watch the new Exorcist instead of this? I can't handle how scared I am because it's so real." But they found her.
How is that a palate cleanser?
They found her.
Why don't you watch The American Office?
No, because she was in some standards. The American Office is actually pretty good.
Now I want to watch The 17th Exorcist.
Yeah, I know. Which I didn't even. I just went to sleep. But they found her, and she was on Piers Morgan defending herself, saying like, they're making a big deal about this. And apparently she's saying that Netflix and the guy are lying.
Well, I don't think that that's out of the realm of reality.
Yeah, it's not. So like, let's look this up. I'm going to put up like a video.
Look, it is a dramatization. Really what you are watching is Homer Simpson Portrait of an Arse Grabber. Surely it can't be the accurate details. At the very least, it's a dramatized event. It's like based on real events.
Okay, here we go.
Wow, this is very familiar to the format that we usually look at.
Oh my God, are we on camera?
Yeah, in the corners there, see?
I don't know if you are or I am.
Yeah.
Okay.
No,
right.
well, yeah, one of us is.
All right.
Yeah,
anyways.
everything's too small. And so is Piers Morgan.
Okay, now I want you to watch this, and I'll ask you a question about it in a second.
You would say you only sent him a handful of emails. You never texted him.
No.
You tweeted him 18 times.
The casting was on point.
You
Dude,
never
she
sent a
looks like
Facebook
Roseanne.
message.
Oh, that's
And
right.
you wrote him one letter.
Yeah.
So why have they got all these details here which are supported?
Who is they? Netflix.
Who has
That's
sent all
not
these things?
correct. So I'm sorry.
Who has sent all this stuff to him?
I've no idea. I think he's probably made it up himself.
I mean, you could prove, I guess, quite easily it wasn't you
Correct.
because it'd all be on your computer.
Yeah,
from
correct.
first.
That's right.
Would you be happy for someone to look at that?
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
What do you have? What technology do you use?
Right. What technology do I use? A very, very old smartphone just now because the other one packed up a week before moving. That's it.
Because they're all sent from an iPhone.
Yes. So
But they believe it wasn't actually an iPhone ever being used.
meaning what
Meaning
kind
that
of
someone
phone?
was hiding the fact that they were actually not using it. They were pretending it was from an iPhone.
I don't really understand that.
Well, people can mask where they're sending stuff from.
Okay, right. I'm not Technology Whiz Kid of the Year. I wasn't doing that either.
That was it?
Yeah, that's it. I mean,
Wow,
look.
how uncharacteristically short for Piers Morgan.
Uncharacteristically not about Gaza. Okay, so look, the first...
Something more fucked.
Let me first fix this.
Yep. Jeez, we are not
Okay.
technology
Sorry.
wizard of the year either, are we?
Yeah, we're not Wizkid of the year. But do you think she's lying or she's like... Look, it's
From
not...
being engaged with her for a minute without knowing anything about it, I completely trust her.
Did she... hang
No.
on a minute. I don't completely trust her at all.
But you are privy to seeing Netflix beforehand. You would not be allowed on the jury. You can't be. If you're watching Baby Reindeer, no one is going to have a positive impression of you after that. It's like that Nicolas Cage movie that we saw where you have nightmares of them and you're like, fuck you. It's like, but I'm just a guy in a show.
It doesn't also help that the actress in the show looks exactly like her.
Exactly. Come on. It's not fair.
Well,
All I'm saying is you're leading the witness.
so you think like Netflix would not have fact checked the story, would not have like, looked at the document?
Look at all the shit they pump out.
Yeah,
I barely fact check my stuff, like, come on, like, if you're putting out that many things, especially when it just has at the front, based on a true story. I'm telling you, it is, I know I just said it a second ago, but I will restate this. Homer Simpson Portrait of an Ass Grabber. That is what you're watching.
yeah.
It's based on a true event, but there is a lot of artistic liberty
Okay, so
that is taken to the true event.
here's the thing. She is threatening to sue Netflix and the guy, the comedian, whoever created this, pitched the idea, for defamation. And dude, if anyone has grounds for defamation, she has them.
Usually I'm very anti-defamation, but come on. You can't
Come
be
on.
some normal, seemingly nice woman with a Welsh accent that doesn't know how to use a smartphone and verse the media titan that is Netflix and say,
Again, assuming what she's saying is correct, but having watched that video, I've watched it a few times now. I think she's fucking full of it.
Now, why is that?
She's lying.
Go on.
Just the way her body language, her what are those NVC, non-verbal communications?
What's wrong with her NVCs? What?
Well, first of all, she's doing a lot of ooh, 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 ooh things. You know what I mean?
I didn't recall any chimp sounds.
Yeah, and she also doesn't. First of all, she's not denying that she contacted him. She's saying that she didn't do it thousands of times.
Yeah.
She's saying that she did hundreds of times.
Is that what she said? I thought she said 18 or something.
Well, 18, but there's voicemails. There's other multiple ways of communication. Some of them were in a few hundred or whatever. Okay, if you're a stalker, what's stopping you at 100? You're gonna go to 1,000.
What did stop her?
I think nothing. I think she went for it, and she's just feeling bad about the fact that there's a massive Netflix show made about her. She's the new Squid Game, and she didn't ask for it.
Oh, man, that's brutal. Could you imagine if she seemed very put together for somebody who's facing that much?
I think she was putting it together for that moment. I think, man, she did that shit. I'm telling you. There's something about her that's not giving me the right vibes.
You can't say this. It's not. I don't know if anyone on earth now can give this woman a fair trial because everyone, maybe just me. That's it. I'm the only man on earth that hasn't seen Baby Reindeer.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen all of it, but I've seen enough to know that she did that shit.
I feel so sorry for her because I know every murderer that is ever on the stand says this, but just imagine if she didn't. Could you imagine?
If she didn't.
If she didn't do it.
Well, look, then
and her life is fucked.
In that case, she needs to 100% sue.
She needs to sue. She has to sue. It's really strange.
I'm feeling she
I'm
won't.
never on the boat of someone suing. I always think that it's a bad move. And I think that it's just complete abuse of the legal system. But as you're saying, if defamation laws ever had a good use, it would be that if she's innocent.
Yeah, 100%. She definitely should be given half of Netflix shares, I think, because that's
Surely.
It's kind of think about it. It's kind of that movie we saw, Dream Scenario.
Mm.
All
She
of a
is Dream
sudden,
Scenario.
she was just she probably had gotten over this guy by now. And she's like, all right, okay, I went a bit overboard. And then she was just sitting there watching Netflix and oh, I wonder what this is about. And she watches it. She's like, oh my God, this is my story, or at least close to my story. And then everyone in the world is obsessed by it overnight.
God, it's just, look, I know what it is like to be on the receiving end of a media beat up on, let's be honest, a scale a millionth as small as that. So maybe I'm a bit like with Dave Chappelle when he's always saying, man, I'm just really biased towards black celebrities. I didn't even think they did that shit.
Yeah,
You know,
you're
like
always
when
like,
Cosby came out and it was just like, one girl, she's lying. And then 10 girls come out, they all lied. 40 girls come out. You can't have did it to all of them.
oh yeah, I don't. Well, we'll see. We'll see. But I think she's like full of shit and she's lying. Hey, okay. Before we move on from this, a word from our sponsors.
Already?
Yeah,
I'm
main
excited.
show.
Okay. You listen good. We're getting sponsored by the leader in gaming and energy nutrition. It is keto friendly, -1 calorie, 0 carbs, 0 sugar. See, this is better than your fucking Packy Metamucil. No fillers. Don't even know what fillers are. I'm not in the game enough. What is GG? It is a powered energy formula that delivers long-lasting energy, increased endurance, and faster reflexes at a fraction of the cost of canned energy drinks. Well, you got to give them value. You have to give them value. Can we give them flavor, though? That's the question, because they come in such amazing flavors as Dragon Fruit Punch. Ali, I believe that you'll be taking that one. And I will be taking Titty Milk.
What?
Yeah. Titty Milk is one of the flavors.
Are you serious?
I got to try it. Yeah, look at how excited Ali is.
Oh my
being a
God.
tit man. Yeah, you want it. Go on. You know you want it.
Okay, so am I going first or you want to go first?
We'll go first, but look, guys, let us know in the comments. Is this 200 mils of water?
250.
You sure about that?
It's about that, yeah.
Okay.
Slightly
I think
more than
it's
that, actually.
10 grams, but let's try.
No, it's not.
All right. I am very, very, very looking forward to drinking tit milk. This is what I think. I'm such a fan of sexual products advertising with this podcast. I mean, it's just so fitting for Australian
Who
politics.
came up with that idea? I love that people actually... Well,
It smells awesome.
you got to try it before.
Yeah.
So the one good thing about this
Looks
is...
very scary.
It's just a powder, so you don't have to like carry the entire bottle.
No. It's just the, oh yeah. Whatever the Kool-Aid was called.
Okay, it smells all right. It smells pretty good.
Mine does
And looks
what I
pretty nice,
imagine
too.
tit milk would smell like.
Oh my God. I wonder why you
Tit milk.
use that flavor. I'm sure there was another flavor.
I think we all know
somewhere.
why, because keep in mind, this is aimed at gamers.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
Titty
look,
milk is more nutritious than
I'm
cow
gonna.
milk.
I'll try it first because taste is king, and if it tastes good, then like all is forgiven.
Then, yeah, everything else is secondary. Does it taste like dragon fruit punch? That's the question.
Well, I've never had dragon fruit punch, but
So, yes.
the initial taste is pretty good,
Is there an aftertaste?
and the aftertaste is pretty good too.
Bam!
I don't mind
Lock,
it.
stock, and barrel, 2 wins. You going for a third?
Yeah. Did you ever have Tang?
Yeah. Yes, I did.
You did? It's
Tang.
No, it's not. It's similar to that, but it's good. It's good, and I like that. Tang was just sugar, whereas this, I guess, is not because it has 0 sugar. So it's definitely more friendly for Weight
gut.
Watchers.
Now for the main course. Passes the smell test. Does it smell like if tit milk now had guarana? Does definitely smell like an energy drink mixed with one of those feeding women in Mad Max. Being like, let's give it a go.
So I don't know if we're selling it that way.
Okay, can I just say, I want this to be on the record. I am a big fan of tit milk.
Can I try it?
Look at him.
You
He
try
doesn't
it.
want the dragon fruit
try it.
punch.
Well, I'm
thank you for the
curious. I'm
secondary.
very,
It's like
very
when someone
curious.
gets vegetarian at Domino's. You can have a slice. Yeah, thanks.
It's been years, as you can imagine.
Brings me back. Tastes like Tang.
Oh my God, I think I prefer tit milk.
Me too.
Tit milk is my
Tit
flavor.
milk's where it's at.
Tip
And I
milk.
really like that we've got these stupid McDonald's swirly cups for it. We couldn't make this more dumb if we tried.
No, that's all right. That's actually, it's pretty decent.
Look, I got to say, if you are freaked out by a product that is talking about lactation from women, maybe try the dragon fruit punch. Having said that, if you can man it up and do things like a real baby, go to tit milk.
Yeah,
That's
go
one
to
of the
tit
best
milk.
tasting drinks I've ever had. I'm down in it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have
To quote this glass, I'm loving it.
I don't know if that's how sponsorships work. You can't plug other brands. Yeah, he's like, how is it? It tastes like Tang, a competitor.
Wouldn't it be amazing if you went and it's the birdie mascot from McDonald's being like,
Oh
factory.
God, stop it. Look, honestly,
milk.
the drinks taste all right. It has a little bit of an aftertaste, and that aftertaste is just, it's like a sugar-free
Awesome.
aftertaste. No, it's not. I wouldn't say it's
Man, I
awesome.
wish we had more than 3 satchels. I'd drink this. You know, I don't want to get into the energy drink train again. Probably that's all I drink. So thanks for the 3 satchels.
Yeah, so there's a bit of an aftertaste, but that comes from like the sugar-free aspect of it because it doesn't have actual sugar. That's with all those drinks. The drink itself is actually pretty decent. All right, okay, let's
Now, moving on.
moving on.
Well, you might be, maybe. I'm still in flavor country.
Okay, so Kyle and Jackie O,
Greatest radio duo of all time.
they had the greatest guest of all time. There's a lady that came on their show, and she claims to have had intimate relations with every nationality that has existed.
On Earth.
Yep, and she had some
Even
criticisms.
Mongols.
Let's look it up. I'm gonna play this as again for you.
Question before it goes to air. I think this needs to be addressed. Is she hot?
Well, you'll find out soon.
Okay.
You probably know
Well, you got to first watch
right,
Vistaprint
well,
ads.
Just going from an ad to an ad, are we?
Cards at the perfect price. With
Yeah,
premium
perfect
finishes
price, I
and
like
thousands
that.
of designs, we make it easy to print your stuff.
That's
now,
great.
stock
Thank
up
you
on
for that.
business cards and
Yep.
everything else
Can you
you
please
need to
fuck
stand
off?
out.
We want to see if a chick's hot or not.
Vistaprint.com.au.
Arabs and the Indians are
Yeah,
going to
she's
eat
hot.
that booty like
She's hot.
groceries. Australian men need to step it up a little bit.
What are we doing wrong?
You're just
annoying
not
voice.
putting in any effort, and you need to wash your hands.
Wash your hands.
What?
And that's why they're number one. In Melbourne as well now, everybody. Get involved.
No,
Such a good show. I think that we could all unequivocally say the best subject on earth is talking to OnlyFans models.
well, first of all, I don't want to get into this conversation, but she's not as good looking as you make it out to be.
You don't think?
No.
Okay.
Secondly,
Jesus, you're harsh. No more tit milk. for
secondly,
you.
address the criticism. She's happy with Indians, so I'm gonna lump myself in that category once in my lifetime.
Okay, that's great. Good on you, man.
she said,
Wow, you folded quick, didn't you?
which is actually like I don't know if it's true. She said like Indians and Arabs eat us like grocery or whatever. She said.
Eat that booty like it's groceries.
I don't know if that's true for every brown man out there, but I'm sure the overwhelming majority does. I
Would
learned
eat the
that.
booty. Yes.
I haven't done it. I've always been too scared. But I'm not. I don't doubt that the
I
others
bet
out
you
there.
there's a booty sweat flavor.
So now, is this true that Australian men aren't just putting in that much effort?
Well, I've heard as much. Honestly, I've heard.
I know one brown man sometimes never put in the effort either. But like,
Really? I thought they'd be rabbits.
well, I was talking about myself. There's many ladies I've disappointed in my time. I can tell you that, my friend.
Haven't we all?
So, but you know,
I know I have, being an Australian.
So, do you think this is a common problem?
I think that she's had sex with one Australian man. She's a very busy lady. She has to have sex with Eskimos.
No, look. Okay, I think this is what happens. Australian men are usually good looking, and the ones that American girls are having sex with are like surfer.
Surfers, trading.
It's so easy for them to get laid. Why would they put in any effort?
There's definitely that. There's also the fact that we are just generally lazy people.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. I know this scene sounds bad, and I want to tell this to you ladies because a lot of guys don't tell you this, but I want you to know this. If a guy isn't putting in a lot of effort, maybe he's not valuing you at all. It doesn't mean that he's not putting in a lot of effort with everyone, but he's chosen a select few that he can't be fucked with, and that's a red flag. Leave that man alone. He's not worth it. He's
just not that into you.
Yeah,
literally.
He's just not that into you. He can't be fucked to put in the effort.
You reckon that's the go?
Sometimes that's the go.
I'm sure it's the go sometimes. I don't think it's generally the go. I think guys...
Not oversexed guys. Undersexed guys, yes. Oversexed guys, no. They're not gonna put in... It's abundant.
Seed.
It's the same thing as like if you're starving, every little grain of food matters to you. But if you're like fucking overflowing, then you're gonna discard like chicken McNuggets here and there all the time.
Yeah. I don't feel like it tonight.
I'll take one bite and throw that shit away.
There you go. Yeah, that's actually a good point.
Yeah,
maybe you're right. I don't know. I think you were. Look, I'd put in the effort for her. I don't know why you wouldn't.
No, I'm not
Would you
interested.
Put in the effort?
I'm not interested in being with her at all. I wish her the best. I just don't. I wouldn't want to put in the effort at all. Or like just
No,
dude, that
what
woman.
if she just wanted a taste of Pakistani one night?
Yeah, but like as soon as she opens her mouth, I'm completely unattracted.
She has a very annoying voice.
She has an annoying voice, and she's like. Yeah, she's not my type.
As valley girl as it gets.
Now, if she had massive cans, I'd reconsider the offer. But
Again,
no, like
Ali likes titty.
Oh, look, I'm not super interested in her. But
all right, well that's fair enough.
Yeah, but you on the other hand, you'd put in the effort.
I thought she was. Well, look, now you're making me doubt it. This is that episode of Seinfeld when he's dating like a very hot woman and everyone around him is just like, she's a loser.
What's with the hands? Like, she was also saying, like, Aussie men need to wash their hands.
Yeah, because she's dating Sparkies. That's why. I'm telling you.
Oh, they're just coming back from, like, a concreting session.
Concreted, and then they've just, with the extra strength that's around it, just going...
leaving asbestos inside of her with their finger. True Aussie man.
Sorry, love, I'm on my lunch break.
We found remains of VB glass and asbestos in your vagina, man.
Where could that have come from?
Yeah, tell us in your comments if you're a woman, is this true? Well, I guess she is in a unique position because she's had sex with so many individuals that she can give a comparison. A lot of the women listening in maybe have only had sex with Aussie men.
So she said,
which is understandable. Don't feel bad.
But she said that the best. Indians and Brazilians, was it?
No, Arabs and Indians, because she was just saying that they eat your ass, like, a lot.
And she was into that.
She was into that.
There you go. Well, she's got some interesting insights. I mean, you haven't fucked everyone on planet Earth, unlike her. So, good for her for doing that. Somebody had to do the experiment.
All right, well, look, we've got to go international. There's some international things to cover. Mayor Sadiq Khan of London has won his seat again in a landslide victory, and it wasn't just him.
Is he a Tory?
No, he's Labour, and they had a local elections over there, and Labour.
Hang on. Does Labour do well in London?
Yeah, it's kind of like Sydney, like the metropolitan London area is kind of it's. I wouldn't say it's safe Labour. But
it trends towards.
It tends to, yeah, it does. Because it's like Sydney CBD, it's going to be kind of Labour.
That's interesting because...
This London metropolitan area is kind of tiny, actually.
Okay. So we're just talking about the CBD of London.
Yeah. But because it's like a marginal area, they usually, in British politics, they look at that as like a tell for the next election.
Okay, so that's their Western Sydney.
But dude, they don't need to look at anything. Like the Tories got hammered everywhere in local elections. They've lost half of their seats.
Yeah, okay.
And Labour has gained more than half of of their seats as well.
Now, why have I heard the analysis that that is not a good tell for the general election?
I don't know what analysis this is. I think if you look at any analysis, Labor is coming in with a thumping majority this time around.
And when's the election? Like 6 years, because their terms last fucking
When was the
15.
last one? I think the last one was 2019, I want to say.
No. It was
When
that
was
long
the
ago.
Jeremy Corbyn one?
I swear it must have been like 2021 or something.
Let me look it up, actually.
I think that it was still years away. Surely. It couldn't have been 2019.
Yeah, because they've got 5-year terms. Next UK election, January 2025, so not that long.
Yeah, no, they're just clocking in fast.
Yeah, I think it was like,
Crap,
yeah,
5
2019.
years goes like
2020.
that, doesn't it?
Well, no, it's been a while.
Okay, fair enough.
What do you think about 5-year terms, too?
Hate it.
You hate it?
Hate
It's
it.
too long?
Way too long. But I also hate 3 years. I think the Americans have it with their 4 more years.
Yeah, 4 is a
4
good
is
sweet
time.
spot.
It's a sweet spot.
But 5 like gives you continuity for much longer.
Yep, that's the definition of what it does.
Yeah, but you're thinking of the Liberals. What about what about Labor? Like, dude, I think Almo could be a 3-year man.
Yep. Breaks my heart. But I think that generally in Australia, it's pretty hard to depose a government in one term. It very rarely happens. What's the last example of that? Campbell Newman.
Queensland. I'm like federal. What's the last federal example of it?
What is the last one-term wonder of a federal election? Jesus.
Well, wait, hold up. Kevin 07.
No.
8,
We're talking about the Labor Party. 2
8,
terms.
9, 10.
Yeah.
And then, okay, yeah, 2
Yeah, 10 to
terms.
13.
Yeah, I don't
They
know.
scraped through, but that's what I'm saying.
scraped
Usually
through.
you get 2 terms, which is 6 years. So it can happen. It has happened, but it is rare. I think it'll be getting less and less rare as time goes on. So maybe I'll be proven wrong because people just have this stupid idea in their head of that guy's independent. That means he's independent. I'm an independent thinker, like the entire electorate. I vote independent. Do you know any of their policies at all? He's a free thinker. What do you need to know? It's that.
Actually, that's also part of it. Like in the UK, like if you look at the polls, minor parties are gaining a big chunk of the Tory votes,
God, I wish that was the same here.
which makes like Labour, the highest, which will de facto mean that they'll form government, but they might not be gaining all the votes. And you know what is also surprising in this environment? When like, you know, it's no secret the UK economy is suffering. And in such an instance,
But
people
is it like Carlet suffering from success?
suffering from failure,
That's so much worse.
so, unfortunately. But no, but what I'm saying is like Nigel Farage's party not gaining.
UKIP.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course. UKIP's a flash in the pan. That's not going... Where is it all going? The fucking Liberal Democrat. Liberal Democrats to me just seems exactly what the Greens are in Greens... In like... The Greens here are the Liberal Democrats in Greens clothing. And I'd imagine that in the UK... I don't know anything about it, but I'm imagining the Greens is the party of hippies, whereas Liberal Democrats is the party of shithead yuppies. Am I wrong? Who votes for the Liberal Democrats? Are they called the Liberal
I
Democrats?
think, you know,
That's the other question.
I think Teals, what we would call Teals.
They're the Teals.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
They swing between Liberal Democrats and Tories.
Yeah.
And then,
That
like, I
sounds
guess
right.
you would have some Labour that also switch, but it's the Teal phenomena that really is the Liberal Democrat.
And then, obviously, Scottish National Party, is that what it's called? That's really fucked Labour's vote.
Yeah, Scottish National Party, they actually changed their leader recently.
Some Indian.
Pakistani, excuse me. But yeah, he unfortunately
Paki.
no more there. He's gone.
Already?
Yeah, they had a leadership spill.
To who?
And someone within the party, someone else is going to be like, I can't remember their name exactly, but someone else within the SNP is going to be coming in. Either way, man,
What do you think about British politics?
I don't know. Look, here's the problem.
Mm-hmm.
You had like whatever, I don't know. I think Tories have been in power for the last 14 years over there.
It's brutal, hey?
It's brutal, but and which makes sense that like, and they've like, you know, the country isn't like doing that well.
Handbasket.
A little bit, and their priorities have been all wrong. They've been patching up like these massive problems with band-aids. And so now if Labour does get in, I want them to like actually change a few things around.
The question is, are they going to be given the mandate?
They might.
This is the problem. Honestly,
They might be
people
given-
don't understand. When you form government, if you form government with a slim majority, it's not a great mandate. It's not a great mandate. That's really the electorate saying, we marginally prefer you over the other person. We just want you to manage things as they are a little bit better. That's really what the electorate is saying there. If they give a thumping majority to you, then you've got the leeway to like do radical things.
Yeah, but
Am I
like,
wrong? Am I wrong on that?
You're not wrong. But what I'm saying
okay.
is like radical things is important for them to know what exactly radical is. If they think radical just means that all of this fallout is because of Brexit and we want to put the question back to the public to say, should we rejoin European? That's not radical. That's just revisionist. You've got to think a lot bigger now. I'm not saying that Brexit was a good thing, but it's
pretty
done.
damn radical. Man, leaving the EU is radical.
Well, it was
And then
radical
joining
from
the EU again is pretty radical.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's going to solve all of your issues. I think they missed
not gonna solve your issues.
the tech boat, which means that whoever comes in next...
Hang on. Let's not dismiss this.
Mm-hmm.
Joining the EU would solve a lot of the UK's problems. The UK is fucked on trade now. They are absolutely
But
fucked.
it's not that a European Union is some economic wonderland either. They're also suffering from similar issues.
Yeah,
They
but it's
just
such
were
a big economic block that you've been excluded from.
Bro, I want to give you one statistic. All of the people that live in the entire Eurozone is about the same size as just Brazil.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is...
Brazil's massive.
Yeah, Brazil is massive. Exactly. So what I'm
And
saying...
it's also, let's put this into context. They're not all living in fucking favelas. They're not all Bulgarians.
That's the main thing. But if they keep going this way, they soon will be living in favelas. So that's why European Union is much more powerful than Brazil, because not only do they have 300 million people, they have 300 million people with some sort of consumer power.
Yeah.
I
Living
get
in
all of
nice
that.
little chocolate cottages.
Yeah, but man, I
Assume.
think what's happened is that in the last 10, 15 years, the whole financial thing that they depended on is over. The boom is dead.
What
And-
boom?
Well, financial and banking. It's all of the money.
They got to invest in crypto.
They got to invest in tech, and which they haven't done. And it's a difficult
and
thing
also
to
on
come.
top of that, you can't. It's a bit too late.
It's never. It's a bit late. You're right. It's definitely late for you to be now considered a powerhouse in tech. However, if you start now, these little baby investments may end up giving you some kind of success. Having said that,
True.
but
It's
you
just-
don't.
Look, I do not envy whoever the fuck is the head of the Labor Party now.
I don't envy
Like,
him either.
You are going to be inheriting a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. And you are going to be wildly unpopular 3 days after the election.
The problem is all of the answers to UK's problems cannot be done in 5 years.
No.
It's also whoever fixes them will never stay in power to see the fruits of it.
No.
So what you need for what the UK needs to do is invest in tech startups that actually work, which is a hard business to do, but more importantly, reform your education system to cater more towards manufacturing than everyone going to university to either come into the financial sector or just protest at campuses and stuff.
You know what is amazing? That's a very good point. But also, this is happening throughout the entire developed world. They've all of a sudden woken up and realized, fuck, maybe we do need factories. Isn't that incredible?
Well, yeah, we've always needed them, but we just don't need
But
factories for cheap shit.
I know that, but
Yeah.
this is a trend throughout the developed world that is happening now. They all are moving back to manufacturing. What the hell happened? You're right. We always needed
because-
them. But when did the penny suddenly hit that you can't put everything in abstract concepts of wealth? You do actually have to produce something.
Well, because the manufacturing model is changing with carbon neutral manufacturing. So there's a whole new industry that people can exploit, which UK needs to be exploiting. But okay, if there's any, this is the one thing that I want to tell people of UK. If there's anyone listening, you don't have to be demoralized. You're a remarkable people. Like, you need to remember this. Your nation is a remarkable nation. You should have been nothing in the grand history of things. You're a small, shitty fucking island in the worst real estate possible of Europe, and you took over the entire world. Now, you went a bit overboard with that. We get that. But back up.
But damn, it was glorious.
But it was glorious. But anyways, but like, just remember that you can punch way above your weight. you have the capability to do it,
baby.
And there was a time when like UK manufacturing was the best in the world. Like, you have supplied.
Yeah, what, like the 1780s.
Yeah, whenever it was. But I'm just saying, like, this is one of those inflection points. You have to rediscover yourself and have faith in the fact that, like, you can do it. You can come bigger and better. It will take time. You might even have to sacrifice the next 15 years to achieve it. But what the politicians of UK need to realize is that just stop chasing easy fixes and go for the hard one. Go for the long one. You've got to, like, you need some structural reforms. You definitely need some structural reforms.
Look, that's a little in-joke between Ali and I, but trust me, that was well played.
Yeah, you need some massive changes that aren't like at the surface level, but deep underneath, which no one will be able to see. But unless you do that, you're never going to recover from this.
Here's the thing.
You're going to become like, I don't want to scare you.
Yeah.
You'll become like some no-name European country like fucking Latvia or...
Which is what you should have been.
Which is what you should have been, but you're not. And you don't have to be that. You just have to like sacrifice one generation and the next generation will go back to its glory days.
See, here's the problem, because what you're really talking about is the South Korean model. It's like be South Korea in 2025.
But creative South Korea. South Korea, it was easy for them to do. I mean, it's easy in the sense like it's difficult, but like what the model that they were trying to achieve was like everyone had worked out what exactly you need to do. You need to like manufacture this sort of stuff. You need these kind of materials for it. You need this amount of labor power for it to be economically competitive. You need to sell it at this price, which means you have to pay people less or whatever it might be.
Yeah, but Ali, you're right about that. It is a lot easier than what Britain has to do. It also wasn't a democracy.
It wasn't a democracy, and Britain is. But again, Britain needs to be
like, that's bad.
They need to be creative. Bad. They don't have the model. I can't even give you them. I can't give anyone. No one can give them the model. You can give third world countries certain models. You can straight up. You do this, you will be less poor.
It's like being
not
a
rich.
McDonald's franchisee.
You'll be less poor. Your standard of living is going to go up. Now, Britain is already a first world country. In order for this first world country slipping down, they need, and if they want to come right back at the top, they need to not just, obviously, manufacturing is something that you can look at, but it needs to be manufacturing of certain products that don't even exist at the moment. You have to be creative about this. And I think you can. If, British media is to go by anything, you are creative when you're just focusing on baby reindeer too much.
Yeah. I mean, it's genius. You've done that. I don't know if we should put all of our eggs in, greatly defaming a very good Welsh woman, it seems. Don't think you can revive your economy on that. Yeah. Might be an element.
But it's possible. It's possible.
Look, but Ali, saying that it was easy for South Korea to do it, I know what you're saying, but first off, let's just get this off the board. Yes, okay, they had basically a Kim Jong-un dictator there that was able to force everyone to do exactly what they were supposed to do. I think he even put in fucking curfews so they'd be like, so you get up at a good time and work hard for Korea. Like, they had a lot of that shit going. And on top of that, man, it was not easy. That generation of Koreans really did sacrifice for their children.
That's what you have to do.
Instilled in their mind. Yeah. That's not going to happen in a first world country. They're used to the best.
But this is what I'm saying. Like,
it's not going to happen.
That's what conventional wisdom tells you. But this is what I'm telling people of Britain. If you don't, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, you have no idea at the abyss you're looking at. If you don't change anything massive, and if you keep going on the same path, you'll slowly start going. You're going to be... India has taken Britain as the world's largest economy, by the way. This has happened recently.
India has
overtaken United Kingdom's economy. The size of the United Kingdom's economy is smaller than that of India.
That doesn't scare me too much. That should happen.
It should happen, but what I'm saying is, like, you're not going up either. Like, American economy has grown in the past 20 years. Like, I think almost tripled itself, really.
Yeah.
the stats aren't the same for Britain. And what I'm saying is like, you might look at India and go like, oh yeah, 1.3 billion people, what like 70 million or 50 million, however many we have, not a big deal. But then like, you know,
You do have the head start of owning India for a long time.
yeah, and then like one day Poland is gonna go above you, and you're gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on here?" And then you're gonna have to like,
well, you know, they've got it's 90 million, and yeah.
Exactly. So the time is now to like act, and you've got to go beyond like basic politics. You've got to go like you have to have a long-term vision.
See, now this is the thing that I've always wondered, and I wish that Anastasia Palaszczuk did it just before she left office, just to see what the reaction would be from the electorate. Because you never see it, and I fully understand why no politician is game enough to say this, especially because the general public is just so rabid and so used to just people chucking fucking money at them, and here's another bonus, everything's going to be amazing. I want to see what the response would be if you come into office, or even if you are in office, like Anastasia Palaszczuk, I think, was there, and she was saying, look, if you expect me to be a detective and a premier and a babysitter and solve all of these problems for you, like Homer Simpson running for sanitation commissioner, you are sorely mistaken about what governments can and can't do. You are expecting way too much. You are way too entitled as an electorate. We're facing dark times here. We got to make some really serious, rough decisions. What do you think the electorate's response would be to that? Because I would hope that we're still mature enough to sit there and say, but this guy's offering us free shit. What do you think?
I think
Chat, what do you reckon?
the older generations of Britain will accept it. I think they'll see. Yeah, the older generations will know exactly what's happening, and they'll also know what needs to be done. As in, like, they might know exactly what needs to be done, but they know what sacrifice is being required. I think the young generation of UK needs to like understand the gravity of this trend, because it's not that right now Britain is doing bad. It's just the trend is looking bad. So like in 20 years from now, things are going to be worse than what they are today, just like how things have been worse today than they were 10 years ago. So if you understand the gravity of this trend, then you know that there's sacrifices that need to be made. And I don't know, because like the elite of England has just been fed like pigs in this financial system that they had, which was just like making money from nothing. Just essentially selling the city of London's, like how cool the city is and your accent to like a bunch of foreigners who are like, okay, this seems to be a good enough place for me to invest my money in.
And the sterling does sound
sterling, yeah. It? And you've had this like history to back. So like the elite has been fattened through this process. It was exactly the same in the US, but like their leaders were smarter in the sense that they didn't put all their eggs in just one basket. Wall Street was big, but so is Silicon Valley now. Like they know how these things need to be hedged against one another. And Britain hasn't done that, unfortunately, which means that this fat elite needs to be starved a little bit. Funding needs to be taken away from the banks and move towards areas that have a future and potential and that can actually give employment to British people. Like the fact that you hate the immigrants.
I don't know how that's going to happen.
And all they care about, like all the right wing cares about is like just, putting an end to immigration, which honestly, I'm not even against. Like I think you don't even have... can't even feed your own people at this point, let alone getting a bunch of others. But that's not your biggest problem. The biggest problem is like the unemployment.
But I was listening to this commentator, and I do really like him. He actually reminds me of pretty much the only person that I've ever seen on earth that shares my politics, which is kind of like, he's pretty much saying, if the Labor Party just offered that red meat, instead of shying away from the immigrant problem, if they said, we're going to tackle the immigrant problem, he's saying that would give them the mandate for the next 15 years to do whatever they want.
It might have, but like I feel like, again, this is just a distraction.
It doesn't matter. He's saying that this is the thing that they need.
What are you going to do with that power if you don't even know what to do with it? Like, okay, you might like own up to the fact like immigrants, like there's clearly popular consensus in the UK that immigration policy hasn't worked in their favor. I understand that. And you can even gain power from it. But like if you just, what are you going to do with that? You're not fixing the issues. The issues are elsewhere. Immigration is just something that, like, you know, is
Run on it.
And even if you decide today, even if like the UK decides that like from today onwards we're gonna have like a, you know, like a white Australian style policy,
White Britain policy
from like the 50s, it wouldn't. Not only would it not help your economy, but it wouldn't even do anything to make up the demographic, you know, the social issues that you're facing. You're looking at your country, which, you know, is being dominated by other ethnic groups. It's gonna do nothing. It's too late. There's too many people in Britain that already are from different nationalities. You're not going to make Britain white again. It's just...
I don't think it's the making Britain white again thing. I honestly think that they're having the same problem that Australia is having, but just on steroids, which is you are letting too many immigrants in. They're causing housing and cost of living prices to skyrocket, which is just what happens when you have that aggregate demand soaring. And you also are increasing poverty for the general public because, as always, migrants are willing to work for way less. And that's what they're pissed off about.
Yeah, okay, but so if you think if they fix that, things are going to be fine?
They think that, yes. That's what the public
But they're wrong about it.
I know. Doesn't matter. Tell them that. I think it is. If I was the Labor Party in Britain, I would be running on two things. One, we're going to fix migration. Two, I really want to see if this works as a campaign strategy.
But John, also
make this the slogan. We need to get on the right track. You know, don't promise miracles. Just keep talking about how bad the situation in Britain is, and like there is no magic pill to fix this.
But John, like you can't even get rid of immigration over there. Like, okay, so this whole Brexit thing was actually, it was basically an anti-immigration thing, right? So there was a lot of people from Eastern Europe moving in.
They thought it was an immigration thing. Again, that's why Brexit won, which is an insane... Brexit was insane. It shouldn't have happened. But the general punter thought this would fix migration.
You know why it didn't fix migration? Because you still needed those people in those positions. And all of a sudden, when...
Ale, you're always conflating these two things. Yes, migrants are necessary for certain skilled jobs. It is also
some
true.
of them aren't even skilled.
Some of them aren't even skilled, that's true.
Some of them, like, okay, you have a huge aging population. You don't have enough people in your country to look after them.
Yes.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
If you don't have if you're not in the European Union and you can't source people from Poland, you're going to source them from India.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, this job needs to be fixed. It's not the government deciding. It's private entities that own those aged care systems go, if we don't have people, these amount of people are going to die or like will be neglected. And so what happens? The government says, okay, well then get people in from like whatever country. And these people are coming from India. Yeah. And they're the only ones with jobs because there's a requirement for this job that the local population isn't filling.
Yeah.
What that doesn't mean the local population is fully employed. They're just not in this sector. So you can't even stop immigration. It's going to fuck up your...
No, there is a difference between stopping migration and greatly reducing it. This is the whole thing. The reason that the Liberal Party increases migration every time is because they are filling jobs that are already there, and they're just filling it with cheap labour. A classic example of that is in the construction industry, where you do have enough bricklayers, where you do have enough sparkies in Australia, but corporations just want Chinese migrants in here to work on those projects because they're going to work for fucking less. Like, that does happen. Yep. That was like a big deal with the Chafta Free Trade Agreement. So it's not this thing. Look, the whole thing that I have with immigration is I'm not one of these people that's just like, let's just go into fucking 1500s Shinto Japan and cut off the outside world. I'm just saying 200,000 a year is too much. It was good in the golden age when we had 100,000. Even
if I agree with all of what you're saying, let's say I 100% agree with everything that you're saying, it still doesn't solve anything.
What do you mean? That starts, I'm telling you now, having an excess 100,000 people a year in a country like Australia definitely starts putting cost of living pressures on everyone else. It's not this like catch-all. It's not this is my big fucking issue with like minor parties like One Nation and the Greens, yeah? Everything that you ever talk to Greens about, it used to be capitalism, but that's not a trendy word. Now everything's neoliberalism's fault. Neoliberalism, 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 neoliberalism. And what they're essentially saying is, deregulation and free trade. That's what they should be saying. But it's like, dude, that is some of the problems of society at the moment. And it's the same when you go to One Nation and they say migration, migration, migration. Oh, the reason that, going to the fucking swimming pool these days and like the chlorine's too high pressure, it's because of migration. Like everything is fucking migration's fault. It's not that it's everything's fault, but it is causing problems. I think this is exactly the same thing in Britain, but I think it's just magnified because their migration policy is just out of the fucking Richter scale. Like it's like, as you're saying, the fact that you have no manufacturing base might be a problem for a nation when it comes to the future. This is exactly, it's like, yeah, that might be the primary problem. And in fact, I do agree that is the primary problem. But you can't say that migration isn't putting a great burden on the native population of Britain.
No, dude, again, I'm not one of those like pro migration. Like I don't believe in open borders. I used to actually believe in biggest. I still believe it in an economic sense, but I understand that it's irresponsible to antagonize your local population to achieve some some distant economic goal. So I'm not a big open borders advocate. I just think that certain times it is genuinely their compulsion. Do you think like the Tories in England or in the UK love migrants? Like why do they always increase migrant intake?
I will say this too.
You have to understand that they have their compulsions as well.
Yeah. No. Look, it is the same thing as when people sit there and say like, oh, migration numbers went up under Labor. And it's like, yeah, but this is not permanent people coming in. This is just like students and shit coming in. That's one element of it. Another element, which nobody wants to acknowledge, is that, yeah, migration is still a problem under the Labor Party. Yes, this is part of it is the fact that, like, we have just been completely deregulating and privatizing TAFE over the last 10 years. So we just do not have the skills base to replace these migrants that come in. But there's also a thing that happens when, like, big construction companies say, oh, we need skilled tradie jobs to come in. And those skilled tradie jobs could be filled by Australians, but they're just using that loophole to just let in more cheap labour. Like, we're talking about closing loopholes that aren't necessary, that I can guarantee you, because it is just a common... Republicans do exactly the same thing in America. Oh, yeah, we hate migrants. Oh, look at that. They've doubled under us. The Tories in Britain, and I've read a book about this as well, they were... every time that they're increasing migration, blanket, and it is because they are not increasing migration in the way that you're thinking about it, of filling like skilled jobs and things. They're just talking their fucking donors in Harrods and shit, and they're just like, we just want an increase in fucking supermarket consumption, and they're just like, well, I've got an easy fix to that. They're just dumping another 500,000 fucking mouths to feed. Like, this is the migration that they're putting in. They might talk about it on a cultural level of just like these damn immigrants, but like, there is no economic benefit. This is the whole thing. This is what people need to understand, right? You can go, obviously I'm going to use this example, come see my live show, but a major reason that the Roman Empire fell and the East Roman Empire fell was exactly the same thing as we're seeing now. Migration is a tool, but I think that it's a tool in the same way that the NRA say that guns are a tool. It's like, yeah, they can feed your family. They can also shoot up fucking schools. Like, you have to use it in an appropriate manner.
But man, I'm going to be honest. I think Britain's migration is going to fall anyways, because I think a lot of migrants are not looking at Britain as looking as like an attractive. Like, it used to be a top contender for migrants all over the world. It is no more.
It's getting down there.
US is again like always at the very top because of the opportunities, and Australia also is up there. UK is having, even Canada is having some issues. So I think if you keep going the way you're going, maybe migrants wouldn't want to go there anyways. Having said that, look, I think a holistic, like, for example, that Rwanda plan that they had, I know this is a very hot button issue. All of Britain's left is against the Rwanda policy. So they want to make Rwanda essentially an offshore detention, just like we have with Nauru. So they're going to pay Rwanda a certain amount of money. Anyone that claims for asylum in the UK will not be processed in the UK, will be shipped to Rwanda. and this is a big political issue. It's I think, like, you know, people call Australia a bit radical in this, but I think it kind of works in some sense that there's going to be a lot of people that want to come into your country, and as much as you want everyone, it might not be the best policy for your country itself. So I think an offshore Rwanda-style facility where they process your papers is not necessarily a bad thing. It disincentivizes people that look at the period of their processing as an opportunity to be able to work a first world income. So try to, like, I feel like this is my this whole immigration thing is such a low issue for me that you may as well just fucking fix it how you're talking about it, because like once you can move away from it, that's where the real concerns are. So like fix it however you want to fix it. If you want to be harsh, the international community might say a few things to you, like, you know, you're not a safe place, but just fucking take it. If Netanyahu,
you're not trying to get elected into UN.
if Netanyahu,
Take a leaf out of Israel's book. Just ignore it.
Exactly. They're committing a genocide and they'll give a shit. So I think like you can do Rwanda, you know, and like just soldier on.
Not a great example when we're talking about genocides, but yeah.
Yeah. But I feel like this issue will never be solved because like people in the UK have a problem with the way UK already is.
What do you mean by that?
You can't go back to like the 70s.
No,
a certain amount of people that don't look like you are always going to be there, and they'll always be a growing demographic. That's also something you have to face.
Yeah.
Totally. You're not gonna get like a white Britain again. So just again,
but dude, I
stop being distracted.
I honestly think that that's UKIP voters that are voting for a white Britain. That is not the majority of people that are pissed off about migration.
Dude, the majority of people that have lost out in this economy are gravitated towards that kind of point of view. They think that that's the cause of their issues.
Man, I'm telling you now, if you are from the working class and you have migrants coming in, that is an issue for you. That's absolutely an issue.
It's an issue, but it's also an issue that, like, you know, your wages haven't grown and are kind of going backwards. Yeah, but I feel like that's a bigger issue.
An element of the reason that your wages aren't growing is because if I'm employing people to fucking make, I don't know, license plates, I'm getting the cheap Indian.
Yeah, but man, I think some of the problem is that the Indians aren't actually that cheap. The ones that you're getting from India are actually being put into positions that are well paying, whereas like the local population aren't getting paid that well enough. It's clear that your local population doesn't have the skills that your country needs, which is why you're importing from somewhere else.
And again, like your point about why Germany is mad is because they had this crazy idea that maybe TAFE is important.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it. That's why you still have a powerful Germany.
And I think it's also like
that's how Hitler could have taken over the world. Just invest more in TAFE.
I think part of the issue also is that the local population, whether it be UK or anywhere else, is sort of their skill levels for what is required is severely lacking, and they need to fix that. Like there's certain like inherent like, for example, like aged care workers. This isn't a particularly skilled position. I'm sure there's like
Ali, this what you're saying does actually kill two birds with one stone.
What?
You invest more in TAFE. Again, there's no quick fix to this, especially because, you know, you need years to build up these systems, but you get your vocational training up to a certain level. The need for migrants starts to drop off.
Yeah, and also, like, you know, revigorize yourself with some old school values. Like, looking after the elderly is a virtue. It's not. It's you don't have a shit job. You're benefiting society. I think there's people from overseas that are willing to wipe your old dad's ass, and you're not even willing to wipe your own dad's ass anymore. You have to admit that, and there's nothing wrong in wiping. I just saw a Death at a Funeral yesterday, and it has a very funny scene of wiping an old man's ass. You should watch that movie, by the way. Anyways, but like I'm just saying, like, yeah, there's certain positions, certain things that, you know, you don't have to look for the coolest job out there.
Now, here's the question. Do you think that is overplayed in the media or not?
What is?
The idea that, these Zoomers just want to be YouTubers.
Some of them do, but that's
Obviously.
also like that's the way the economy is moving. Like they're not stupid either, you know. There's
They're not stupid, but
they look at like, you know, working at an Amazon warehouse versus being a vlogger. Fuck yeah, I want to be a vlogger.
I want to work at the vlogging. I want to
like what's the alternative?
I don't know.
Now, some enterprising Zoomers, I'm sure, are like, you know what? I'm actually going to become a diesel mechanic. There's only like 8,000, like a few thousand in all of Australia, and I'm going to end up making more money than like your standard vlogger would anyways. There's a few of those people, but that's like a highly motivated person that has to like, first of all, figure out a gap in the economy, then like chase after it, dedicate 2 to 3 years of their life. A lot of these kids, man, they're fucking stabbing people. They're misguided completely. There's no like I don't even know if they can see what the future can potentially hold for them. Like, you know.
Yeah, but I don't like this whole thing of, Zoomers have got it so hard. I don't like kowtowing to that. I think that look, I honestly think that their view of how society, they don't even think about society. Just their view of how the world is severely warped by those stabbing videos and shit. I don't feel like they're like this forgotten generation or anything. I feel like politicians seem to obsess with reaching the youth vote a hell of a lot more than they did when we were youths.
Mm. Yeah,
They
but
just
they're also
can't.
like
They're unreachable.
sometimes like, have you heard of this new trend? Changing gears. Have you heard of this new trend again, which relates to this? People in New York City are just getting bashed for no reason. Like women, like Asian ladies, grandmas, just like walking in New York City, some idiot coming in and just like king hitting them, what we used to have back in the day.
Oh, so they're going through their own little king hitting epidemic.
Yeah, it's an epidemic. And Steve Buscemi just got king hit the other day.
Not Buscemi.
Yeah.
When art imitates life. That is most of his roles.
What do you think the motivation is? Like, just what do you think is that motivation? Like, I'm just going to randomly go and just like knock the hell out of this unsuspecting person.
I'm telling you, man, it is this worldwide epidemic of crime being glorified on the internet. That's what's happening.
Man, is that being glorified?
Yeah.
Who looks at that and goes like, yes,
That's awesome. Fuckwit. That's the thing that's so fucked. In this modern age, it's like, wow, everyone gets a voice. But you forget, there's a lot of cunts in the world. And they're getting voices. And they're emboldening each other. And you don't even need that large of a swath of a population to be cunts to create like a king hit epidemic. Say in somewhere like New York, maybe if you just reached 1,000 people in New York and you just have 1,000 king hits a day, that's an epidemic.
Yeah, that's what 1,000 king hits a day is 100% an epidemic.
You know, it doesn't require many.
Yeah, that sounds horrible. But like, it sort of baffles me with the motivation there. Like, to be famous, but like your whole point is you want to be unidentified. Because if you get identified, you're going to jail for assaulting some random person.
This is the whole thing that I know from looking at Queensland crime rates. They don't care. This is the type of shithead you're dealing with. They like their face being plastered on the news. That emboldens them. They don't think they're so stupid, they don't think into the future and think, that's going to put me in jail for 12 years. They're just like, sick, I'm going to be a legend behind bars, man. That's what they think.
Dude, the end times are here, aren't they?
Yeah.
The
only thing that gives me any hope at all is that every generation thought that end times were here.
Yeah, every generation does. But like, what generations can just say like there's an epidemic of like teenagers just knocking the shit out of the elderly for no reason whatsoever? Just like walking, or some woman, you know, some buff dude just king hits the shit out of like some woman who's like the problem is like you're not even expecting it. So you know, usually when someone punches you or something and you're expecting
you can
it,
recoil.
You know how to like protect instinctively. You know how to protect your head. These people are just like getting hit without knowing and falling on concrete with their head just flat.
God, people are fucked, aren't they?
It's insane. It's too much.
Nice old little Asian lady. Well, you know, if we didn't have this migration problem, she wouldn't be getting punched in the head.
Yeah, and
she'd be back in Korea where they respect elders.
And it's also like some feminists are saying it's just because men hate women, and they're
Yes,
like
that's the
jealous
reason.
that women don't give them like any attention. I'm sure there's
That's
part
why
of
they're
it.
punching old grandmas in their
Yeah,
head. 'cause
sometimes
they're into
and Steve
guilt porn.
Buscemi because they want to.
Yeah, because they want to have sex with women.
sex with Steve Buscemi.
The first thing that I think when I look at Steve Buscemi is, I bet he has a vagina.
He might have a vagina. He,
Yeah, maybe actually. I don't think
he
his
looks
eyes
pretty.
kind of look like
he looks
vaginas.
trans, to be honest.
Yeah,
All
well, maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Look. How about we do one last segment before we end it? Do you want to read a Reddit TIFU today? I fucked up.
All right. Despite very popular demand to stop this,
Oh, really? Is there?
I don't know. One person.
We'll do
said
one
they don't
last
like
one.
it.
We'll do one last
Yeah, fuck you guys. Today you fucked up by watching this stream.
before
Today I
you
fucked
do-
up by trying a waffle stomp in the locker room. Don't know what that is. Very excited to learn. Buckle up, folks, because this one's fucked. I was getting a shower at the gym, fucking public, when I realised I've been holding a shit from earlier in the morning. Well, unluckily, Reddit has warped my goddamn brain, well, at least he's aware of that, and I recall reading that people waffle stomp. Do go on. I'm in here with a head full of conditioner. I know no one's around, and I've got a turtle head poking out. What's the worst that can happen? You're in a public gym. That's the worst that can happen. Well, let me tell you, I squat down ever so slightly, and dude, I laid a fucking brick dead center in the drain. But I reiterate, an actual small brick of crap. It was disgusting. The fucking smell. No one does this, not regularly. They can't. I refuse to believe it. I have felt so disgusted by myself, and honestly, I tend to do a wild shit very often. It gets worse. The hot water did nothing. The giant plop of arse mush was just sitting.
Of course, it's just gonna sit there.
He sums up everyone's thoughts right now. ... Fuck. Right. I guess I have to actually stomp it. Well, what did you think a waffle stomp was? I don't even know what it is, and I can guess.
Yeah,
now.
is that an American thing? Waffle stomp?
Well, yeah, they're the only ones that eat waffles, right?
Oh, true. Yeah.
Well, it clogged the goddamn drain. Now in the gym. Now the shower is backing up with soap. I'm furiously pouring soap onto it, hoping it'll go away. Now there is a man whose brain is broken. Complete panic mode. It reminds me of Jackie Kennedy when John F. Kennedy's head was exploded and she's trying to put the brain back in the skull.
Amateur surgeon at work.
I get down, smush the fucking feces down the drain with my hand. My fucking hand. Well, it was your foot before, mate. I'll tell you, I'm at my lowest point. It took me a solid 10 minutes to erase what I've done, and afterward I go to get paper towels and clean up any remaining mess, because in the middle of it all, I'm having a guilt trip that some poor bastard has to clean my shit up with the shower shenanigans, as you should.
Yeah, why would you do it at like a public bathroom anyways? Why not just do it at your own experiment at your house?
Well, because he needed to shit. And as we all know, there's no toilets in gyms.
Yeah, of course. There's no toilets anywhere.
Yeah. Why don't you just go on the workout bench? I nearly vomited. My actions made me physically sick. Who the fuck is out here doing this regularly? You're mentally ill. You're really not in a position to judge others at
Yeah,
this
you
point.
can't.
Well, that
mentally
was
ill.
making me feel pretty physically sick as well, mate. The top comment is, this is why I always wear shoes in public showers. It's a good life tip. Not
Yeah.
bad having read that. This is why I just don't use public showers.
Yeah,
to
don't
begin
use
with.
public showers.
Yeah.
Also, like, do people do that? Is that a thing? Do people, you know how, like, yeah, I'll be honest, I've been guilty of peeing in the shower once in a while. But, like, taking a shit, who does that?
It's so bad. Talk about the decline of society.
Yeah.
There was a Seinfeld episode about peeing in the shower, and they were saying that that's just off. I mean,
But
if that is off, then
you shouldn't make a
Call me
habit
off.
of it.
yeah, try to go to the toilet. But,
that
they're all
one
tight.
you can give a go. But, like, who?
Yeah, as long as you don't eat too much asparagus.
Unless you
it should
have
be fine.
diarrhea, no. Also, even if you have diarrhea, still no. The bathroom's gonna smell like it's gonna be so bad. Anyways, that's it. That's the end of the pod, Jordan.
Okay, cool. Let's just read some comments before we get out of here. I hate laptops with screens. Oh, that's very nice, silly little bugger. That's good.
I like laptops with faces.
What have we got? Someone wrote, and this was from ages ago, they said South Australian Liberals only had one term. That's very true. That won't work, Jordan. You won't convert anyone. You'll just cause them to scurry back to their safe spaces like far-right media. What the hell? This is a really delayed chat. They're talking about us saying you can't expect miracles from government. I know! But Monty of Oz, what do we do? What do we do about it?
This is what we do.
This is going to be my big crusade from now on. Is like, I'm sorry, but you personally have to do things in life. You can't just expect it. It's so weird that on the one hand, everyone's always complaining, oh, nanny state about the government. And on the other hand, they're saying, like, do something, nanny state. I thought you were supposed to be a nanny state.
I'll tell you what to do. For those of you watching or listening right now, go on patreon.com/friendlyjordies-podcast. Sign up, because there's way more content that we put on Patreon. Obviously, all the content also is early access, and the cost of living is affecting us all. If you have a decent job and you haven't been affected by this issue, chuck us $1 here, will ya?
Chuck us $1 there. I'm also really proud of the Twitch numbers. It is making me think that, fuck, we probably should just Twitch professionally like every other fucking leech cunt on earth like us.
All right. This isn't gonna go places from now on. Thank you everyone for joining us. For all of you that are listening or watching live and also listening to us on whatever platform, we appreciate your support and patronage, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.
Have a lovely day.